You are listening to the Choose Your Struggle podcast, a member of the Shameless Podcast Network. Hello and welcome to the Choose Your Struggle podcast. I'm your host, Jay Schiffman. On this show, I interview people with lived and learned experiences on the subjects of mental health, substance misuse and recovery, and drug use and policy, but occasionally we talk about other topics as well. On today's Monday Motivation episode, you're going to hear the first half of the season wrap-up, but first, Kid Mental, let's go.
Always gonna go our way. You can always win when you choose your struggle. And some battles will be yesterday, but today is for a new beginning. Choose your struggle. And don't worry about what they say, 'cause you can always win when you choose your struggle. And you can bounce back just as Jay. Come on and listen to Choose Your Struggle. Choose your struggles. Choose your struggle. Choose your struggle.
A quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. I am so grateful for your support and your love. Y'all have been with me since almost the beginning, and so much of this podcast could not be done without you. Almost to a person, they've all told me that they didn't join for the perks, although there are some pretty fantastic perks, but they've all joined just to support the show, and it really means so much to me. Now, if you join, you are going to get some stuff in return. You'll get sneak peeks, extra content, and the chance to interact with me on a second level. It's really a great way to show support if you love this show. So go ahead and check it out today. Go to patreon.com/chooseyourstruggle. The lowest tier is only $3.40 a month. And there's multiple tiers after that. There's something for everybody. So truly, I truly mean this. Thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. And if you've been waiting to sign up, well, now's a great time. So head on over to Patreon and show a little bit of love. Choose your struggle. Thanks for sharing the podcast with your friends. If you're listening on Apple, please rate and review or check out the review link in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Hello and welcome to the Choose Your Struggle podcast. I'm Jay Schiffman and great to be back with you here. What you're hearing today is the first half. I am recording this as one long episode. I'm going to cut it in half for you. The first half is going to be a look back at not just this season of the show, but sort of the last couple years. The second half, which you'll hear next week, is a look forward, just an update about what's coming down the line for Choose Your Struggle. That will drop on the Monday before the last episode of the season. So we're coming right up to the end. Before I get into all this, I do want to again shout out the giveaway. Remember, there is an awesome giveaway going on right now. To enter, you need to leave a review if you've not already done one. If you have, you're good, but you can leave more. Different platforms, you'll get an entry for every review. And if your name does not resemble, what your name is on the review, definitely reach out to me so that I know that's you. 3 different prize packs, a Choose Your Struggle prize pack, which includes a couple of tank tops and some stickers and stuff like that. A massager by, I'm not going to try to say the name again. It is a massager. Somebody asked me this. It is a massager. It is not a vibrator. So you may, if you want to try, that's fine. I do your thing. It's pretty rough, so I don't think that would be fun for you. But if you want to try, let me know how that goes. It is a muscle massager. And the other one is a pack from my partners here, Bookshop and Roadrunner. I do want to shout out Roadrunner real quick. I am in a good amount of pain as I'm recording this. I got acupuncture yesterday, working on an issue with my leg that's been bothering me while I run. It's feeling a lot better today. She really got at me, and I am so sore today. I'm in so much pain that I didn't think I was going to be able to record this. That's the honest truth. It was, my neck and my back are so tight that it was like, bringing on a migraine. I tried everything. I took some Advil, drank a lot of water, ate. I smoked some CBD. I mean, nothing was working. And then I pulled out my Roadrunner muscle gel, put it on my neck, And I'll tell you what, I'm still in pain, but I am standing here talking to you because of it. I wasn't going to be able to record it. I was thinking about going to bed, calling off meetings, and the Roadrunner, the muscle gel kept me on my feet. So a big shout out to Roadrunner. The prize pack from my partners is a gift card from Bookshop and a muscle gel roll on from Roadrunner. So you'll be getting it. Just leave a review. You'll have a chance to get it. So as promised, this is a look back. For those of you who have joined more recently, this will all be news to you. For those who've been along for the ride, you've been there, and thank you for that. Sort of a quick reminder, I launched Choose Your Struggle in November of 2015 when I told my story on stage for the first time. And that snowball started. This was a thing I did on the side for a couple of years. And then thanks to episode 5 guest that I just put back out as the look back episode, Kristen Zavo, thanks to her, I took this full time in January of 2019. So we're coming on 3 years here where this has been my full-time job. That started just as me. The first year was very disorganized. It was sort of like, what does it mean to do this full time? What does that look like? And building a bit of a business plan. That business plan had me on track to turn this into not only a business that obviously focuses on a lot of very important topics and people. If you've heard me speak, I say this all the time, that making money is not in my top 3. That's true. The addendum to that, or the sort of the other side of that, is that I do have a business plan, and I was on track to make this a for-profit, venture for me in 2020. And then COVID hit. And just sort of quickly what that means for a profit, what does making a profit look like? It means me doing a lot of speaking. That was the number one. Speaking, coaching, and consulting were the 3 fund streams in the original business plan. That's changed a little bit because of COVID. I was doing a good amount of coaching. And down in Charleston, South Carolina. I launched all this in Cincinnati. We moved 6 months after that to Charleston. Was doing a good amount of coaching, a good amount of speaking, and that was why I was going to be turning a profit. It was amazing. Some consulting, and then COVID hits, right? And of course, COVID completely shuts down the speaking industry. I mean, it for those of you who don't know this, I mean, you probably noticed, right? When's the last time you were in a big room listening to someone talk, right? It's just not happening. Now it's coming back, and my team is working very hard to help capitalize on that. But, it's been almost 2 years, and considering that was my main revenue stream and the main way that I interacted with people, it forced me to drastically change what this business looked like a year into it being full time. So in January of 2020, I was at a 2-week-long business seminar, and picked up a lot of great tips. And literally at that was sort of the spark of the podcast. And it was mostly talking about different ways that you can get your message out, which of course really was important to me. I heard them talk about podcasting. And then, as y'all know, because I've said this many times, I had a client at the time who told me I'd be good at podcasting. And I literally said to that client, there's no way. I have no interest. Which is funny to me. And then the final sort of tip over the edge was my good friend, best friend in the world, Spark Tabor, who, as I record this, will be actually, when this drops, he'll be in town, which is great. I'm very excited about. He put out a podcast, Cookies for Breakfast, which I've been on numerous times. He's been on here talking about a couple times. And I literally said to him, like, I love you. If you can do this, the barrier, like, I can do this, right? Because he and I are very similar people. And so I was like, all right, if you can get over that barrier to entry, like, I can do it. So I set about starting this podcast in January. It eventually did drop at the end of February. And by then, COVID had started. The writing was on the wall. And I looked around and said, okay, this probably will affect my business. How will I continue to do stuff this year? And I made a plan based on that information, which of course then a month later was just out the window because everything changed. And I've told this a lot, but I think this really helps underscore it, that the day the NBA canceled their season, or eventually, we found out it was just on hold because it came back. But when they paused the rest of that season, I lost 5 speaking gigs in the next 48 hours. And I immediately was, well, shit, there goes any hope of me making this thing profitable this year. Right. And so at the time, my first thought was, well, what can I do to keep getting my message out there and keep being of service during this time? So the one thing I quickly decided I was going to do is this podcast, which I even said early on was going to be sort of a side thing, became a much more bigger part of my business. So that was number one. I started treating the podcast like a part-time job. And really putting a lot of work into it, and which you can hear because from episode 5 to probably, let's say 20, I mean, it's a different show. I was growing rapidly, in that hard work and a lot of luck. I mean, I was able to treat it as a part-time job because I come from means. That's luck. I can't claim that. And the luck of having means to sort of try things and fail and try something else. And, the luck of knowing a lot of amazing people who would help me out. It helped this podcast just grow way faster than they're supposed to. I'll say that. And the other thing I did at that time was I said, I want to just be there for people. And so I put on this show on all my social media whenever I was interviewed, which I was starting to get interviewed a lot, and eventually would be interviewed on podcasts and other print media and stuff like that over 70 times in 2020. But I said, I want to be there for people. And so I put out this idea that if you just need someone to talk to, hit me up. And people did. I mean, people came out of the woodwork to the point where that was a part-time job for about 3 months last spring. So that's sort of what early COVID looked like. And then late in COVID, late last year, Lauren and I started talking about moving. We knew we were going to move. We started looking around. We chose Philadelphia. So at that time, I then ended season 1 of the podcast. I knew that this was something I wanted to keep doing. Y'all had been so incredible launching this show now into the top 0.2%. According to Chartable, or top 2% according to listen notes of shows. Y'all have been so amazing that I knew I just had to keep this thing going, and I, quite frankly, I think I'm good at it, and it's a way that I get to provide for other people an opportunity to get their message out, to talk about these important topics, end stigma, promote honest and fact-based education, all that kind of stuff. So I really started leaning hard into that's what this business is going to look like until COVID's over and beyond. So that brings us to 2021. The second season launches with someone I really look up to, my dear friend Rebecca, the host of the Ghost Town pod. And it just kept going from there. Kyle Blanks was soon after. Y'all remember Kyle. And thanks to him, his company Roadrunner became my CBD partner. Again, shout out to Roadrunner. Not long after, I started talking with Bookshop, and they became a partner. And that really solidified the partners. I am always open to new opportunities. I will tell you this, sort of a behind the scenes thing. I get pitched all the time, and it's not worth it. Sometimes the money is interesting. I'm not going to say it's not. It is interesting what is being offered. But I pledged to you early in this season that I was not going to do that. If something like you're not, no offense to Best Fiends, you're not going to hear a Best Fiends ad in this podcast. You're just not. That's not what I'm interested in doing. And so If you're hearing me talk about something, last month or 2 months ago, we had a podcast that was being advertised on the show. It's because I respect the host. I respect what they're doing. And when she approached me about partnership, I said, this is what I'm interested in helping you out with. I did that for free. The partners, those are y'all keep that going by checking them out. Both my partners, Bookshop and Roadrunner, are very happy with this partnership. So that will keep going. And a big shout out to them because they are, a major reason that this is working. So that was another thing. Obviously, early in the season, I dropped a couple other partners and really just went with things that were part of the brand. We had some really amazing wins this year. The show has been streamed in going on 40 countries, which is amazing. Like I said, it grew into, depending on which of those sources you trust, one of the top shows. It's in the top, I don't know, couple thousand English language shows in the world. So I'm very honored, and this is so dumb. Like I should be better at just being able to say, like, this means a lot to me. This was a thing, like I said, that was started because I truly, truly care about these subjects. I live this stuff, and to see this thing grow and to hear all of you reaching, it just means so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. The biggest thing for me, I think, is the last 2 years, raising 12,000 something, whatever, for Drug Policy Alliance last summer, to raising, I don't remember what the final total was, 7,500, 8,000 for Savage Sisters this year. Y'all are incredible for that. I'm so thankful. And as promised, I'll talk more about this next week with the second half of this, but you're going to get a good amount of Sarah Laurel from Savage Sisters coming up because of that. So thank you. Other things that happened this year, obviously, was big ones. The launch of Rock Bottom Storytellers and A Day in the Life. Rock Bottom, you'll hear more about next week. We're talking about what's coming up. But Rock Bottom, the first 3 have been streamed online, a combined total of a couple thousand. I think it is, the last time I checked, is like 2,500 times or something like that. Which y'all are incredible for that. The storytellers have been amazing, and the musicians have been amazing. I'm so thankful everybody's tuning into those. Again, more on that next week. A Day in the Life, which, as I say on the website, we put out whenever the hell we feel like it, has been great as well. Some really wonderful stories. More will be coming from that in the future, I promise. So that's amazing. Oh man, what else was big in 2021? Obviously, like I said, we moved to Philly, got involved with Savage Sisters, which you're going to hear a lot of them, as I promised. Great things happening with Savage, and very thankful, continuing to be very thankful for that partnership. The number one thing overall, I would say, before I go into that, the number one, the other big thing obviously was in June, doing a TEDx, which I'm still waiting on the video for. I don't know. But that was nice, and being able to share my message there, it was fantastic. So anyway, as I was saying, the biggest thing, looking back, the most important thing, it always is, but hearing from you, like, I can't overstate how much I love that. I know you hear me talk about this a lot, but I really do. I'm so thankful for the people who take time out of their days to say, liked this, or this was so meaningful. People who share. If you follow me on Instagram, which again you should, it's like every other day is me sharing somebody sharing my show, or sharing somebody who had shared a picture and tagged me of them in the merch. Also, another big thing from this year, big shout out to Choose Your Struggles strategist Ryan, for the amazing designs and getting the merch store off the ground. That was another big thing for this year, was Choose Your Struggle grew from just me to 3 people, Ryan and ML, who, again, more on that next week. But as you all know, we were working on a book together. So, Ryan did a fantastic job with the designs, and the merch has been popping. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see it all the time. And I do that, yeah, it helps with promotion, as somebody pointed out, like, you're always promoting. And I'm like, yeah, but it's all love. Like, it's not me just like, buy this, you know, it's like me going, look at this person sharing my stuff. This made my day. Or look at this person who is talking about how much they love the show. This made my day. Or look at this interview I was on where I really had a wonderful conversation with the host, you know? So definitely check out the Instagram, but that is the number one thing. That is, hearing from you is always and will always be the number one thing in my life for this work. And I am so thankful. So please keep doing that. And that's going to end the first half of this. Stay tuned next week for the second half of the season wrap on Monday Motivation.